Hey everybody, and welcome back to Gloomhaven Fantasy Setup version 2.0, the mod for Tabletop Simulator. This video is going to go over the process of updating a save to the latest version, and this is actually the second version of this video that I have made. It was pointed out to me in the comments for my original video by Commando 5551 and Door Opener that there is a much easier way to do this process than the one that I had originally outlined. And while I still find some kind of strange satisfaction in the process of putting everything in neat, tidy little bags, I can't argue with the fact that this is unquestionably easier and faster to do. So, thanks to both of those folks, again, Commando 5551 and Door Opener, for enlightening me to this process, because I think we should all be using it to update our saves. It works great as far as I can tell. So let's get started. So what we're looking at here is just what you would typically be looking at just before you start playing Scenario 1, the Black Barrow. We have a party of 3. We have the Black Barrow sticker on the map, that city rule militaristic sticker on there. We have a few personal quests for all of our characters. We have our party sheet filled out. There's actually 2 things here that would not be here at the start of the game. I have 1 tick for prosperity, and I've also given our party a little bit of rep. Those things are not part of the game at the beginning, but I just wanted to demonstrate how those things are maintained throughout this process as you're going about it. So the first thing I'd recommend doing is cleaning up a bit. In theory, you could do this in the middle of the scenario, but to me that just seems like an unnecessary risk. I'd probably suggest waiting until your scenario is done before doing this. So first we're going to clean that up. We're going to go into our game setup menu and we're going to delete the map. Again, make sure that there isn't anything in here that you want to save. It will clear out everything. The same is true with the monster setup here. It will kill everything in these white boxes. We're also going to take our items. I have all of the level 1, the prosperity 1 items up here, and we're going to pull those back down by clicking on that button that says layout cards. And we are then also going to pack up our characters. So we'll do remove player, remove player, remove player, and they all get nicely organized into their respective envelopes. And anything else you have on the board you may want to clean up, you can put it in bags, you could put it in the Gloomhaven box, you could do whatever organization makes sense, whatever consolidation makes sense to you. Or you could not consolidate if you want, because really what we're about to do is just select everything that's in front of us, literally every asset that is on the board, at least the non-invisible assets, because I know there's some invisible stuff here that we as players aren't supposed to be interacting with. But everything that we can see, we're going to grab. I think there's a couple exceptions to that. There's some stuff that you don't necessarily have to grab, like the status tokens. You could conceivably skip the Forgotten Circles box if you haven't gotten into that at all. You could also conceivably skip all of the character boxes here if you had not made any changes to them. Even the Gloomhaven box, if you hadn't unlocked any treasure or played with any of the envelopes or any of the other unlockable content, you could conceivably skip that too. But I think the only thing I'm going to skip here is just these tokens. So I find the easiest way to do this is to do a big old lasso like that. Just double check that everything gets highlighted, and you'll notice there's some stuff that doesn't get highlighted. Notably, the map, the boxes, the character sheet. You can manually select those. You can manually add those to your selection by control clicking on them. I had no idea that was a thing you could do. So thanks to Commando 551 and Door Opener for pointing that out. You can do that to a bunch of other stuff here, including the element fusion board, which again you don't necessarily have to grab because it's easy to bring it back, but just for the sake of completeness here, we'll grab our party sheet rather. When you do that, by the way, make sure you don't click in either of these two or any of the text fields, just because it'll think you're trying to enter text, and that could screw up the whole selection process, and you might have to start all over again. We'll grab everything else. We'll grab Forgotten Circles, we'll grab the Gloomhaven box, and we'll grab all of our character boxes as well. And if you have anything else, obviously make sure you grab that too. You want to bring everything. So having done that, we are going to now right click on any one of these objects. It doesn't matter which one. Door Opener recommends you use the Gloomhaven box, I suppose, because it's big and impossible to misclick on. And if we do that, we're going to go down to Save Object. You can save this object wherever you want. I'm just going to put it in our root folder, and I will call it Game State New. And just double check there's nothing you've missed. But assuming you're all set to go, we are now ready to leave and go back to our main menu. So we're going to start up the latest version of the mod. So as long as you're connected to the internet, and as long as you are downloading all of your updates for Tabletop Simulator and for the Tabletop Simulator Workshop, this should always be the latest version of the mod right here in this menu. So we'll load that up. Just going to grab a sip of seltzer here. And here we are in a clean version of the latest update to the mod. So the next thing we're going to do is delete everything, or at least delete everything that you copied into that game state object. But we'll just grab it all. So again, we can do a lasso, and we can add the objects that do not get automatically highlighted. Maybe there's a better way to do this that I don't know about, but there's not that much. So it seems easy enough to just manually grab that stuff. And once again, we'll right click on any one of them and select delete this time. And voila, it's all gone, and we are now ready to spawn our game state back in. So if we go up to the objects menu and go down to saved objects, here's our game state, and it's going to be really tempting to just click on that. You could do that. It would just put everything back in a pile, and you'd have to then manually move everything back. Instead, what you can do is click on this little button with the 3 dots on it and select spawn, and boom, everything that we selected comes right back exactly where it was. By the way, it's perhaps worth noting that this entire process only works if the latest version of the mod hasn't changed the overall layout of the game. You know, if there's a future update someday that moves stuff around, then this process isn't going to work quite as cleanly as it does here. You'll have to manually move some stuff potentially, but for now at least, we're all good. So at this point, we could, put our items back. We could bring our characters back as well. Oops. We could even add our play area back if we wanted to be totally complete about it. Um, and you can see that our party sheet is maintained, um, and that prosperity tick that we had on the map is maintained as well. The one thing this doesn't do automatically is the stickers, but Door Opener has provided a great solution for that as well. It's still a little tedious, but I would say not quite as tedious as my original guide, which said that you basically had to just look at your old version of the map, take a screenshot of it, or refer to a physical version of the map if you have a physical version from a physical copy of the game, and just manually add things, row by row or column by column. What we can instead do here is go up to the games menu and find the save that we used to originally grab everything here. Click on the three dots and click expand. This may take a minute or two, depending upon how fast your computer is and just how much stuff you had out on the game board when you last saved it, because it literally has to load everything, every asset that was there. So once that's done, what you should be able to do is go all the way to the last page here. And that is going to have your stickers. Some of the assets, they're always going to be at the end unless you had a scenario open. And you'll recall that I did have that scenario 1 loaded, so all of the assets from the scenario here too. But somewhere here in the last few pages should be all of the stickers that were on your map. That includes the scenario stickers, and it also includes any of the global achievements that you had up here. So once again, you can click on the three little dots and click spawn, and those things go back in exactly the right positions. If you had hit one of the check marks to indicate that it was completed, that also gets maintained. Any other stickers that you've added to this board as well will be in that list, and you can add them back in using that same method. Obviously, if you have a lot of unlocked scenarios, that might take a little bit of time, but I would say it's still way more efficient than having to refer to a list or refer to a screenshot or anything like that. So that works really well. So that's it. You like I mentioned in my older version of this video, every once in a while when you unpack these character envelopes, things don't quite work out perfectly. Sometimes it will inadvertently consolidate your advanced attack modifiers with your basic attack modifiers. Sometimes the ability cards can get commingled with the advanced ones as well. I've seen that a couple times, but you should be able to reconstruct things without too much effort. And I want to thank Commando 5551 and Door Opener for doing the legwork on this and figuring out this method, because it works great as near as I can tell. If I did anything wrong, please correct me. And if anybody knows of a better method for doing this, certainly we'd all like to hear about that. So hopefully you find this helpful. So you all stay safe out there and enjoy playing Gloomhaven.